Hello, YouTube. It's me, John Avenger, once again, and welcome to this is an unconventional review because this is the spoiler-free review of one of the best films I saw this year. I just saw it a couple hours ago. It's not the best MCU movie of all time, but it is a great freaking movie on its own right, and that is the one and only Doctor Strange. This is my ticket for it. I went to go see it at uh, 12:35. Yeah, bullshit. I got to see it. It was at like 1 o'clock because it was a delay before the movie started. But wow, what a freaking awesome movie! And I'm not gonna spoil it here. I'm gonna do another review on my Daily Motion account. So all the spoilers I'm gonna put in that. Before I do my podcast with my friends. Hopefully that's gonna be tomorrow or Sunday or next week. But anyway, this movie was freaking awesome. Plain and simple. This is what Suicide Squad should have been back in August. This movie should have been a freaking summer movie. This movie was better than the last two Iron Man sequels and better than Thor the Dark World, and it was better than BVS and Super Suicide Squad combined. And I enjoyed BVS. But like I said, they juggled one character and they did him right. Benedict Cumberbatch was freaking amazing as Dr. Stephen Strange. He was amazing. Just everything that he said, every mannerism, every look that he gave one of the best performances of his career. I wish that this movie would get an Oscar just for best actor, Benedict Cumberbatch. He stole the freaking show. Every line that he gave in the movie, was just spot on. He nailed the American accent, which is great because Cumberbatch has never done an American accent in any movies that I've seen. And he nailed the mannerisms of Doctor Strange. He showed vulnerability, which is something that a lot of people in movies this year didn't show any in the movie, and the emotion. Every time he was upset with what happens to him, everybody knows what happens to him, that he loses the feeling in his hands. That's in the comics. It's not a spoiler, but I'm not going to spoil what happens to him. That's going to be in my other review, but the movie was freaking amazing. Like the way he was upset about not being able to use his hands and his interactions with Tilda Swinton and with Rachel McAdams. They have a little romance, but it's not too much. Like basically they just have, it's like a budding romance. It's not really like heart, in love that they all over each other. It's basically subtle, but Marvel did a great job with this character. He's finally on the big screen. He's finally come to life, and this movie was amazing. Is it like Inception? Yes, but there is no dream sequences. And oh my god, a comic book movie that doesn't have flashbacks. Oh, somebody pinch me. Yeah, there's no flashbacks. They don't show him when he's a kid. They don't show him before his accident, and they don't show any of that. They show a lot of stuff, crazy things, him going through dimensions. You saw that in the trailer. The Inception part is basically when they're bending reality, and you saw that in the trailer where the city is like turning like this. It looks amazing. If Inception had a sequel, this would be it, because those visual effects look freaking amazing. Nolan would be proud of how amazing these effects look, like the way they bend reality and the dimensions. And my god, just the effects in the movie look fantastic. When they're bending reality to make things appear like whips and everything, it's just great. The flying sequences, the cape is badass in this movie. I'm not going to say what it does, but his cape is what the Man of Steel would be creaming his pants if he had Doctor Strange's cape. I'm just going to say that. It is awesome, just the things that the cape does. It's freaking amazing. Rachel McAdams I liked in the film because unlike Hobo with a Stick, she's gorgeous. She's in her 30s. She does a subtle performance, and she's basically playing a nurse or, a doctor's assistant. Basically what Natalie Portman was supposed to play in Thor, because in the comics, Jane Foster is a nurse. She's not a scientist. But here they did it with Rachel McAdams' character. She was good in the film. Doesn't do much in the film, but she's there, she's good. Now, with the rest of the cast, I had some split, the decisions. I had some mixed feelings, but it didn't hurt the movie for me. Tilda Swinton as the Ancient One, was she horrible? No, but she's the typical wise person that has to tell all the exposition and how you're the chosen one, blah blah blah. You need to find the strength inside of you, blah 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 blah. All of her character is a character I've seen many times before. She was bald. It was kind of distracting. It's not because it's a woman, because she's bald and she looks like a baby. It kind of took me out of it for a bit, with her scenes. And I think you could have casted anybody else. Like, and you could have gotten Ken Watanabe bald, and I would have bought it better because they're supposed to be in Nepal. When does Nepal have a non-Asian woman that's British? Yeah, that was kind of iffy. Chiwetel Ejiofor, yeah, he's there. I'm not going to say he was great. He was there. He had some decent rapport with Benedict Cumberbatch because they're both Brits, so that's what the director wanted. Hey, I'm not a casting director, so I wouldn't know, but he was there. I'm not going to say he was there. I'm not going to spoil what happens in the two post-credit scenes. No, that's going to be for my next one. But I'm just going to say what I liked in the film and what I didn't like. Tilda Swinton and Chiwetel Ejiofor, they were there. I'm not big fans of them. You know, I thought Cumberbatch stole the show. Benjamin Bratt is underused. He's in 2 scenes, and that's it. Not going to spoil what happened to him. The story was interesting. You know, what happens to him and him wanting to be able to use his hands again. Really, really good. I applaud Cumberbatch's performance. He sold this like a champ. The film had humor and it was funny. It wasn't forced. Like, hey, look, there's fire. And every time Margot Robbie opened her mouth in Suicide Squad, it did nothing for me. It was forced, reshot BS. Here, it wasn't reshot, and the comedy worked. It made when there's serious scenes in the beginning that made me cringe in the hospital, they put some humor in it to lighten the mood, and it worked. And it didn't feel forced, and it was good, and it was rich. It wasn't, oh my God, they had to put a fart joke. Oh my God, they had to put a fire joke or whatever. No, it didn't annoy me. It was balanced, and the audience was laughing right there with me, and it was worth it. And it didn't turn too comedic like Iron Man 3, where like it was like a joke of every minute. And that was a little bit, I blame Shane Black for that. Anyway, the film is really well done. The villain, decent. Not the greatest, but not the worst. Matt Mikkelsen, I think he's in Hannibal, the TV series. He was good for what he had to do. He had some demeanor to him. He did things. He stood active. He wasn't doing this like the Enchantress. He wasn't doing this stupid dance. No, he shows his actions with his, without words. When he's using that blade, that he does when he conjures a blade and does, kills people. You know the gist. He's a villain. And he even had a sense of humor. He knew it was in a comic book movie. He wasn't doing Shakespeare. Like, they took the material seriously, but they didn't overdo it like in Fan Four Stick. The film looks great. The production, I've said it before, I say it again. Nobody does it better than Marvel. I'm sorry, DC. You had 2 chances this year, and you blew it. I enjoyed BVS, but it needed to be R-rated, and we don't need an emo Superman. And you didn't need to... The end fight shouldn't have been rushed. Suicide Squad was edited to crap. It was boring. It wasn't funny. The Joker was underused, and you should have done more with that. And the Enchantress sucked as a villain. Here, it was balanced. It wasn't 2 hours long. I know they cut a lot of stuff out, but that's what the Blu-ray is for. And I could see more. I want to see more of Cumberbatch as Dr. Strange. He's freaking amazing. I love this performance. I love the way he looked in the costume. Him coming with his cape was better than anything I saw in Man of Steel. Honest to God. There's a reason this movie got a fresh and Man of Steel didn't. There's a reason that this movie is getting more praise by the critics and Man of Steel didn't. That it got mixed. This certified fresh and it deserves it. Not just because it's a Marvel movie. Fan Four Stick was Marvel and it sucked. So did Ghost Rider. So did freaking X-Men The Last Stand. This is how you do it right. You respect the source material. You put humor that's not forced. You put actors that are giving it their all, especially Cumberbatch, because he has to carry this movie on his shoulders. And you make the story count. Yes, it's full of cliches. The chosen one, the old mentor, the climactic battle at the end, and the special effects in space look fantastic. When there's a scene that he's Strange is talking to was it Ramaru or something like that? It's some head in the sky. Yeah, I think they will show that in the trailer, so it's not really a spoiler. But in my spoiler-filled review, I'm going to say what happens. It's amazing. It's really good CGI. It's not CGI that took me out of it. Fight scenes are awesome. And even the beginning of the film, the way it started, it was like, wow, it was straight out of like an anime. It reminded me of Avatar: The Last Airbender. But in a good way. Not that people are like, oh my God, it looks horrible. No, it was like a mix of Inception, Avatar: The Last Airbender, Harry Potter, and some other Marvel films I've seen, like Thor. It looked like Thor. Like most of the the scenes in the city, or when they're in different dimensions, reminded me of the first Thor movie or some of the Dark World. And it was a good movie. It's really good. It's going to be in my top 5 of the year. No matter what people think of Rogue One, it is not going to be better than this. I'm sorry. Arabelle is not going to be better than Cumberbatch's performance. This is Oscar caliber. Trust me. See him in this movie and you're going to be like, wow, this guy can act. He has a dramatic voice. As he sounded like George Clooney throughout most of the film, because his dramatic American accent sounds really good and it doesn't feel fake. And he tried, unlike another person in the movie that I saw last year. And it was good. It was not forced. And the action scenes count because you care about Doctor Strange. And the emotion feels real. It doesn't feel forced like in the Diet Guardians of the Galaxy Suicide Squad. And it was good. And it was done with a director that cared. And it was handled with care. And the movie just, it fit. It fit like a hand in glove, and it fits in the Marvel Cinematic Universe. I love this movie. It's in my favorites of the year. Did it beat Deadpool and Civil War? Not even close. But it was good on its own. And it took the bad taste out of my mouth that DC left me in August with Suicide Squad. Edited to crap. I'm sorry. A 30-minute extended cut is not going to save that movie. This was an hour and 50 minutes, and it was wondrous to behold. And the magic aura thing that they were doing in the film worked for me. It didn't feel like, oh my God, this is kind of boring. I've seen this. If I saw Harry Potter and then I saw this, I would have probably been like, eh. But no, Doctor Strange is an interesting character. I've always been fascinated with this character, and I want to see more. And this movie was one of the best experiences I had in the theater this year after Civil War. And it was worthy. It should have been a summer movie. This should have been in August or July. Instead of Fembusters, put this. It's way better. And it proves that Marvel, nobody does it better than them. Nobody. Anyway, that's my review, my spoiler-free review of Doctor Strange. It's a good movie. It has its flaws. There's some cliches. Some characters kind of get underused. And it has predictability, especially with a couple of things that happen. But I will say that and save that for my spoiler-filled review. I'm not going to spoil everything, but I'm going to say things that do happen in the film and out of order. So it's not going to be the whole movie, because that's not what a review is. You don't just summarize the whole film. I want to give key points that are in the film that I don't want people to know about until I do my next review. But anyway, it's a good movie. Go see it. 3D, you don't need the 3D. You don't need the IMAX. You don't need RPX. But see it in a good theater. Watch it in the theater. Don't download it. Don't watch a bootleg of it. Watch it in the theater. Please, please, please. I want this movie to make more than Suicide Squad. Because that was an edited abomination that should have been much better. And that had to tackle like 10 characters. This had one main character, and it did it right. So in your face, executives at DC that think you need to, put so much into one film and then you fail, and the critics crap on you because you deserve it. One character at a time. That's all I'm going to say. Go see Doctor Strange. It's awesome. Later.